Hi.
Hi, Annika. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So let me start off by saying I am not the target audience for this movie by any stretch of the imagination. And I really enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was really good. So I just wanted to say congratulations on making a really good film.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. I feel like appealing to the non-target audience that's a good barometer for success.
I think it's a pretty good mark, to be honest. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I did. I've enjoyed it very much. So let's talk about the film then a little bit. First off, just for get the easy stuff out of the way. For people who aren't familiar with the movie, can you just tell us a little bit about it and about your role in it?
Sure. Grace is about a woman in her 20s who's an alcoholic, whose alcoholism runs in her family. She lost her mom to this disease, and this disease catches up with her. She kind of hits bottom. She wakes up on a beach in Florida with no idea how she got there after kind of a 4-day bender. And she's given a choice after being arrested for being drunk in public, given a choice of 90 AA meetings in 90 days in this small little Florida town, or going to jail. So she chooses those meetings, and she winds up in this little community. And it's really the story of a very small part of any addict's journey, which is approaching the moment of surrender where you're willing to take that first step into recovery. So it's less, I think, of a recovery film and more about the willingness it takes to start.
Right. Now, you're in literally every single scene in the movie.
I am.
So was it daunting to take on a challenge like that, especially because it's this kind of heavy subject matter, or was it just like, ooh, I'm ready for this?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, it's kind of like what you dream of, right? Like
Right.
It's like what you want, and then you get it, and you think like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. But no, I think it's like an actor's dream to have. I mean, at least for me, the dream is to always have a role that changes, right? Where the journey is extraordinary, and this journey felt pretty extraordinary. So it was just even the prep for this film felt like such a gift because it was such an amazing amount of text to break down, and her journey was amazing to track. And then I was lucky enough that Sharon Lawrence agreed to come play with me, and she is I've been a fan of hers for so long, and somehow for me the film became real the day that Sharon said yes.
Sure. Actually, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, I thought the two of you were terrific in the film, especially when you were together. I mean, I thought the scenes where you guys were interacting were the best ones in the film. So I was just curious, obviously you're a fan of hers, what it was like working with her and what kind of relationship you guys developed on set.
We've remained really close. She's one of my favorite people in the world. I mean, I think it's one of the best things about what we do is that for me, I think one of the definitions of success is that these people who you've sort of idolized from afar become your peers. They become the people you work with, and it's still the most thrilling thing for me. I've had it happen a few times, and this is the most extreme example because I wanted her for the role. I had been attached to the film, and I was excited, but I was really anxious about who was going to play that role. And to me, Sharon Lawrence, I needed Sharon to do it. And we were at the same agency at the time. And I wrote her a letter and basically begged her to read the script and trust me and come on board. And she called my cell phone a few days later saying she'd read the script. She'd gone back and watched previous work of mine. And she basically said, tell me why I should do this film. And we had probably a 20-minute conversation. At the end of it, she said, all right, well, I'll see you in Florida. And it was an incredible act of faith on her part because she had, at that point, a lot more work out in the world than I did. And she is one of those women that is like actively tries to bring other women up, which is not what you always see. So she's a pretty phenomenal person.
Excellent. Well, it played off well on screen. Definitely paid off well on screen, for sure. Your character is obviously going through a journey, like you mentioned. She's angry a lot of the time, which I imagine is draining as an actor. Did you have a chance to have fun on set at all, or was it just like work, intense, the whole time?
It was so fun. It was an amazing. I mean, being given permission to be as angsty and volatile as Grace is actually a lot of fun as an actor. It's like we all kind of want to be there's things that we all want to say that we're constantly, curbing out of like social norms. And so in a funny way, getting permission to be so obnoxious was kind of fun.
Sure.
The town that we shot in, New Smyrna Beach, is so beautiful, and it was such an incredible place to spend 6 weeks, I think I spent there. They really embraced this film. Cindy Joy Goggins, who's one of the writers and it also plays Jessie in the film and is the executive producer, that's where she lives. And so she had sort of, we were so welcomed. She'd set us up so beautifully to be embraced, and everybody working on the film was lovely. So no, I had a blast. I mean, I didn't want it to end.
Good. Interestingly, though, it took place in New Smyrna Beach. I lived in Florida I lived in Orlando actually for the first 25 years of my life, and New Smyrna was our choice because Orlando has no beaches. So whenever we went to the beach, we would drive out to New Smyrna. So when I was watching the film and you say, "Where am I?" and the girl's like, "You're in New Smyrna Beach," I was like, "I know New Smyrna Beach." So I was curious.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was really cool actually. It's been a long time since I've been there, so I can't say I recognize the buildings or whatnot, but it was very cool that that you guys were down there. It's a great town.
It is. It's so fun. Yeah.
Absolutely. What it's like shooting in a place like that as opposed to your typical, Los Angeles, New York, places that are more used to Hollywood.
Right.
What was it like?
It's so fun. I mean, it's first of all, it's happening a lot now, right? Like our business is changing dramatically, and the production is happening all over the place. I mean, some of these hubs that have come up, you go to Atlanta to film or New Orleans to film or whatever, and they are now so well set up to have film productions. So that's one step removed from LA, but then this is a whole other thing, right, where you go and film someplace that's never had a film made there before.
Right.
And
right.
It's so fun because, of course, everybody is sort of curious about what a film set is like. And in a movie like this, where the town itself is kind of a character and it's so much a part of the movie, the fact that you're in a place where everybody is like really excited that you're there. You film in LA and you're filming in someone's street and they yell at you because you're blocking their parking spot. And you film someplace like New Smyrna Beach and everyone's just like, "You're making a movie? Wait, I want to be in the movie. Can my daughter be in the movie?" And you're like, "Sure, sign this release. Of course she could be in the movie." It's really a blast, you're like, you're so embraced. So it was so fun. And it also lets you really buy into your circumstances because you're in a world that is so outside of what you're used to that a lot of that work takes care of itself. You're not trying, you're not like shooting Toronto for New York and trying to imagine a world that you know anything about. It's like it's so far removed.
Right. So your first couple scenes in the movie, you're pretty ragingly drunk. And one thing that I find in a lot of movies is I think playing drunk convincingly is really hard to do. I think a lot of people come off like they're faking being drunk, and take this as a compliment. Your character, I thought you came across like you really were drunk. I thought it was one of the best portrayals of being drunk on screen that I've seen. So
that might be my favorite compliment I've gotten about this film because it is really hard. It is so difficult. Yeah.
And I'm assuming you didn't just get plastered before filming. So I was just curious, how did you prepare for that?
I got myself really drunk in my own head, which sounds totally crazy, but I that scene that I think you're referring to outside the bar where she's basket case. We started filming that at 7 a.m. So it was also like playing drunk is, I think, somehow easier at night. And so there was also this weird contrast of the fact that it was like so bright outside and people were having breakfast and like it was so wrong. And I realized it was going to be hard. And so I had a Walkman with me, and I should apologize publicly for anybody that witnessed my behavior that day because I walked around getting myself kind of like mentally drunk, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I really felt drunk. Like I was doing crazy things. I was scaring kids. They didn't actually close that bar down. So there are people actually like having drinks at that bar. And I think there was actually, this is a funny story. I was walking out and pushing that plant over that was a prop. And there was apparently somebody watching security footage who called, the cops or whoever it was that they thought they should call to say,
Right.
there is a woman who is so wasted, and she really is angry at this one plant. she keeps knocking it over, and they keep picking it up and putting it back, and then she keeps knocking it over again. I thought, all right, well, that's success.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So there's another scene in the film I have to ask you about, because it's the one thing that really left me. And this isn't really a spoiler, but at the very end of the movie, when you're burying the picture, they very clearly show an engagement ring on your hand. Yeah. But then they never show who you're engaged to. I don't know if there's an answer to that. I expected to pull back and there would be Pickles, Liam's character, standing there, and you guys got together or something, but they never said it, never reveals. So did you have a backstory for that, or was that sort of just like, here, throw on a ring?
So interestingly enough, what you just described was a scene that we shot. It was exactly the way it was written in the script. It's what we shot, and it's actually, I believe, on the DVD extras. So it's like one of those deleted scenes that you can watch.
Okay.
Which, I think there's a whole bunch of deleted scenes on there. But that ultimately, I think they very smartly decided this movie really wasn't about finding the right guy and settling down. It was really about her. Oh, by the way, I also had a kid. There was like a girl that then ran into the shot who happened to be really tall. Like she seemed to be it was like this giant child. I don't know. That part of it also felt a little strange. But I think they sort of very smartly decided afterwards, it made it look like it was all about finding the right guy. And because this movie is really about repairing that central relationship of a woman with her mother and identifying as a woman moving forward, it felt much more significant to, I think, end on the idea of a lot like burying the past and forgiveness and more, maybe more subtle. But we did have the engagement ring on, so people always ask that after screenings. And stuff.
Yeah, I was very curious, because I'm a happy ending kind of guy. Like I always like my movies to have happy endings. So I was like, oh she found love, and then it was with some guy apparently. So all right, that's cool. That's good to know. So Grace is obviously was a great role for you. I mean, your character runs the gamut of emotions and scenes and things like that. What do you look for in a role nowadays?
I mean, I'm attracted to things in all genres. Like I don't only want to do drama. But I think I said before about characters changing. I think to me the thing that is most significant is tracking a character's journey, and I seem to attract to myself a lot of very flawed characters, but I don't know what that says about me. I think I am attracted to our imperfections and into the things that are standing in our way. And what was so extraordinary about Grace is that she's her own obstacle. I mean, you in a weird way get to play both sides of yourself, right? Like the part of you that is actively standing in your own way and the part of you trying to move forward. And it's not always that clear, and it's not always that easy to access what the struggle is. But I think for me, whenever I get a script to read, I'm always looking for, and usually my first notes to a writer or a director when I'm working is, what's this person's demon? What are their secrets? Like, what are they hiding? What are they with? Because that's the stuff that I'm most interested in.
Sure.
So even when a character looks really well put together, I'm curious about what they're like when they're alone.
Right. And speaking of significant roles, I do have to ask you about the Sessions. You were obviously a major player in the Sessions, very well received, well loved movie. I was just curious what that experience was like with you getting to work with Helen Hunt and John Hawkes and just being in the movie like that. Yeah,
that was an amazing experience, obviously, and I really feel like it was a life-changing experience on lots of levels for me. I hadn't been part of something that was that well received, but I also, John Hawkes is kind of the ideal on set. He taught me by example what it means to be number one on the call sheet and how to do it in the classiest possible way. And, there are things that I would hope I would have come to on my own, but when you watch it, it's really obvious. Like, some really basic things that make a set work beautifully. So beyond all the other things, like witnessing someone do that kind of work, which in and of itself was just, I would have paid for that experience just watching
Right.
him work. It was
Right.
also watching him behind the scenes and how really, gracious and humble he is, and it's really something to witness. That whole group, Ben Lewin and Judy Levine are a couple. They wrote he wrote and they produced that together, and he directed, and it really was a family film, like a family-made film, and
Right.
it was kind of the ideal indie experience.
Cool. And what roles do you have coming up that we can look forward to?
Well, I'm on a show called The Fosters right now,
Yep.
which is an ABC family show. We are at the finale actually airs on Monday, and that's been so fun. Like I've never had a role like this that had a continuing storyline on a TV show, and it's really wonderful. It couldn't be a nicer group of people, and I really love going to work there. I have a film that's completed called Anguish that I work with two really wonderful actresses in Ryan Simpkins and Karina Logue. Sunny Molly, who's mostly been a producer. This is his directorial debut, and I'm excited for that to come out. And I've also created a very raunchy comedic series of PSAs, if you can call them PSAs, for the California drought that I'm very excited about. That
Cool.
Bruce Campbell is our announcer, and we have an amazing cast, and the first episode comes out online on the 24th in just a few days, and that series is called Stay Filthy, Cali, and I'm very excited about that as well.
Great. Excellent. Well, that's what I had for you for today. So thank you very much for talking with me, and again, congratulations on the film. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And the only other thing I want to throw in is just that it's available on DVD at Walmart, and I know you can get it online on Amazon and Vudu and iTunes, and we're on Twitter at The Grace Movie, and Facebook we're Grace period. So
Cool.
There's my little pitch from you one.
Absolutely. I understand completely. Well, Annika, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff.
All right, great. Thank you.